uh, I've had a few drinks. I don't want to come off as arrogant or braggadocious or like I know anything. I'm a self sufficient person. I only say that because I find a lot of the people who are making videos are trying to come off as smart or anything. I just want this video to come off genuine. Um, I remember there was a time that I was talking to my brother about hard times and struggles, and he had one time relate to me that he was like, "Oh yeah, I remember talking to somebody and telling them that they had taken our propane tank, and they're like that was a real struggle." And the same way with the abuse and the finances and everything else in my life, lack of propane was the least of our worries. You know, like my brother tells me today, like he remembers visiting and experiencing the hard times. And then I tell him, like, it was a lack of beatings. And the drive to get our propane tank back was because he was arriving. We didn't have a propane tank regularly. We regularly took cold showers. And then he had gotten our propane tank back for my brother to come and stay. And we like had hot showers for a while my brother stayed because my dad didn't want to. Dude, he got sent out because my mom scratched his neck. And then he was out there for a while. We lost the propane tank. The propane tank didn't miraculously appear when he left. And the reason I say that is because my brother to this day still will be like, I remember we didn't have a propane tank when we were there. And I'm like, Uncle Danny came and picked you up, and he picked you and the motorcycle up and everything else that was entertaining. And you guys were gone. And I'm sure you were excited, but I was just there. And best thing for me there was my fishing pole, my tackle box, and Don Pedro Lake. I would just go fish, you know? Yeah, I mean, like, it's honestly, during a lot of that time, you'd be surprised that my father was just not very interested in much. It wasn't all beatings and sorrow, you know, like, he would just sit at the house and drink and watch TV. That was his thing. I could do whatever I want. I'd go fish, do whatever I want. My grades weren't a matter of fact. Honestly, as a human, 2024, dude, seriously, most of my childhood was like out roping with these cowboys that my parents knew and fishing on the lake, doing whatever I wanted, enjoying life. I'd be willing to say that I might have skipped a few years of school. I never graduated. But I would have might have said I skipped a few years of school. The reason I say is just it doesn't add up, you know? It seems like a couple of my summers lasted a little too long. I don't know for a fact, but it just seemed like at such a young age I had spent months and months and months at my grandma's house and then, oh, with no parental guidance. And then I met a guy named Artie Jones and ended up 12 years old running a jackhammer in Sacramento. And somehow the work I was doing for him was paying for a professional roper, Gerald Camarillo, running his steers into chutes and running the chutes there for practice professionals to run their thing. For me, it was just a step in being a cowboy. It was expensive to go to his school, but he was just a R.D. Jones was some drunk at the bar I met who offered my dad would drop me off at his house at 5 a.m., go to work at the county. I, I don't know what my dad did all day. My dad would pick me up at Artie Jones' house at like 6 p.m., and that was my life for months. I remember fourth grade, but it seemed like out of nowhere I was in school in Jamestown, because I remember I was working with RDE for months, and when that job ended, I ended up staying at Grandma Billy's house with my dad's cousins at the time for a couple more months after that. I would be willing to say that there was probably 3 or 4 months that I never even saw my dad. And I was 12. You know, I had just been bouncing back and forth from Jamestown and R.D. Jones's wife taking care of me and Aunt Evelyn taking care of me and bouncing back. Dude, Ralph Miranda picked me up one time from the H Bar B, and I stayed at his house for a couple days, and from there I was at Aunt Evelyn's, and there was, I would be willing to say that there was a school year that I wasn't going to school anymore. I don't know. And if it wasn't a full school year, it was a half one. Because it was just a long time that I wasn't really doing anything. It was just a long time that I was going to work with my dad. Like, every morning I would wake up early and go watch him load. Like, I know the process. We'd pull back the truck into the salt mine, and Dad would hop in the Bobcat and load the truck full of salt, and I'd be sitting in the passenger seat all winter, it seemed. Seemed like past summer, you know, I was just sitting in the Bob with Dad, you know, not enrolled in school. I think there was a long time that I wasn't enrolled. I'm just being honest, because I remember there was another time that for a long time, me, Scotty, and Nick all ended up on this job in Modesto, and we're like running wire for some house across some company for a long time. And like I said, that stint that I was living with R.D. Jones, there was multiple days that I wasn't even home, or I was just with him, and like, dude, I don't. Yeah, eventually I was in Jamestown Middle School for 3 or 4 months before Dad moved to Montana or North Nevada, Elko, and I ended up going to my mom's house in Oklahoma. It's just a lot of hairy situations, but I would say like somewhere in there, um, yeah, it was actually like immediately after my mom left. To give my dad some credit, I think toward the end he like knew that things were getting rocky, and he had moved to Elko to stable his life out, and he did. He had never abused me after he had left there. And in Elko, I have, or no, like when he had moved from the Columbia house when he was immediately divorced and mom moved. That was the worst trauma of my life. I had a few notable excessive beatings at the new Jamestown house, but I'm confident that my last worst beating was at the Jamestown house, and I was no older than 13. So to be fair, I hopped around a lot. I did manipulate my situation a lot. I was a manipulative kid, and to this day, I don't have a lot of trust because eventually the drugs and everything fell out of hand. But, yeah. There is something truly real to be said about a God fearing 15-year-old who got a girl pregnant, who had just malicious intent, and a father who had no interest in raising a son. And every place that I'm in now, I've had plenty of opportunities to get myself together. I have no way to blame myself for where I'm at. But I will say that yeah, I mean, it's up to you guys. It's up to you guys to see some big fucking comeback story to bring everything back around. You know, it's up to me as to do it because obviously I have the means at this point in life. But man, just man, like I hope that the viewers of this would see me as somebody who prevailed, and I have a lot of reasons to be upset and sad or let this succumb. Uh, yeah. If you think I'm a piece of shit, I totally don't think you're wrong. I've been labeled that. And this isn't a pity story. This isn't like, oh, feel bad for me. I think that I haven't made the right decisions. If you feel that way, I agree. I'm just more. I think that maybe some of the decisions that I've made have been like negatively influenced. Yeah. There's no excuses though. I'm a young, capable young man. I should probably get it all together. I'd love I'd love to think that yeah, I'd love to think that I could have been driven by it. But beyond popular belief, it's been crippling. It's been crippling. And I can fight it. I can ignore that it exists. I could be lying, but I feel like it's kept me from intentionally reproducing. Because I don't wish my confusion on anymore.